Hello, welcome to our lecture on exercise 31, U.S. Public Land Survey System. So this lecture corresponds in your lab book to page 211 to 214. And the reading is not very long, but it is very helpful. There's actually very helpful diagrams in your reading to help understand how the township and range system works. So by the end of this lecture, my hope is that you will be able to identify where this star is on the U.S. township and range system. So this star here is located in the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter of section 13, township 2 south, range 2 west. How do I know that it's township 2 south, range 2 west? Well, that's what I'm going to help you figure out in this overview. So what is the U.S. Public Land Survey System? Now, before we start deciphering how to use it, let's understand what it is. So it is a land ownership system. It helped to keep track of land ownership on the western frontier, particularly west of the Mississippi River and the Ohio rivers. And it was established by the U.S. government in 1785. And it's really a fairly linear grid. And what I mean by that is that it uses baselines and principal meridians to create townships. So these townships that it creates are 6-mile by 6-mile tracts of land. Again, the townships are 6-mile by 6-mile tracts of land. So for example, this township here in this first diagram at the top is labeled T2S R3W, which stands for Township 2 South, Range 3 West. And this township block here, so this is called a township. And this township is a 6 by 6 mile tract of land. It is identified by its position on the baseline and principal meridian, or actually it's identified by its relation to the baseline and the principal meridian. And kind of like how we look at latitude and longitude. So here is the baseline. Okay, here's our baseline. And we see that we have to go 2 spots south. So this is where we get our T2 south, township 2 south. Because to get to this township, we had from our baseline, we had to move 2 townships south. Now that's how we get our north-south relation. How we get our east-west is based off of the principal meridian. Okay, so right here is our principal meridian. And to get to our township here, we have to go 1, 2, 3 ranges towards the west. So we are R3W because we are range 1, 2, 3, and we moved west of the principal meridian. So the range is 3 west, R3W. Now again, our township here is a block of 6-mile by 6-mile tract of land. And it's identified by its position relative to the baseline and relative to the principal meridian. So here we have our township 2 south, range 3 west, and we move 1, 2 south from our baseline, and 1, 2, 3 west from our principal meridian. And that gives us T2S R3W. So T2S R3W, this township, can actually be further divided. So if we look here at this pullout diagram, it is an enlargement of our township we're examining, T2 south, R3 west. And again, this township here is a 6 by 6 mile tract of land. So this 6 by 6 mile tract of land can be further divided because it is a 6 by 6 miles is a fairly large area. So it can be further divided into, and so we divide it into 36 1-mile sections. So again, this township is a 6 by 6 mile tract of land, and it is divided into 36 1-mile sections. And we label these 1-mile sections 1 through 36. The labeling starts in the northeast corner of the township with number 1, and it snakes around. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it snakes down 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, snakes down 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, snakes down 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, snakes down 25 through 30, it snakes down 31 through 36. Okay, so we see here, what we see here is township 2 south, range 3 west, and it is divided by 36 1-mile by 1-mile sections. Now, each of these 1-mile by 1-mile sections can then be further divided into quarter sections. So here in this example, we are taking section 24, and this section 24 here is a 1-mile by 1-mile section. So section 24 is then further divided into quarters. So we have this enlargement of section 24 showing 4 quarters. Okay, so the quarters are 4 sections, okay, or 4 quarters, I should say. And each of these quarter sections is 160 acres. Each of these 4 quarter sections is 160 acres. These quarter sections then can be further divided into quarter sections. So in this example, we have in the northeast corner of section 24, we have 4 more quarters. And looking at these quarters, they can further be divided into quarters. The quarters can be divided into quarters, and you can keep dividing by quarter by quarter by quarters. Okay. So here, this shaded, how do we state where these are? We're going to take a look here at this shaded section, or this shaded parcel of land here. And this is the south, it's in the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter of section 24, township 2 south, range 3 west. So when we state where we are located, we work backwards. Okay, so we work backwards from our smallest portion of land. So this shaded gray area, again, is the south, we're looking, it's located here in this quarter. So it is the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter of section 24, township 2 south, range 3 west. So the term townships really has two meanings. A township can refer to these 36 by 36 mile tracts of land that comprise 6 miles by 6 miles. So this is a township, and it's identified again by its position either north or south of the baseline and either east or west of a principal meridian. For example, in this example, we are township 2 south. Here's our baseline, so we count 1, 2 south. And here's our principal meridian, and we are 1, 2, range 2 west. Okay, because we have to move 1, 2 to the west. However, when we use the word township, it also refers to the north or south placement from the baseline. Okay, that's where the T comes in. So it is township 2 south, but we also refer to township as this block of land. Okay, so it has two meanings. So as I showed you earlier, each township is again divided into 36 sections, and each of these sections is a 1 square mile. These are 1 mile by 1 mile, 36 sections, okay? Or it is 640 acres. These square miles are 640 acres. Therefore, when we take a section and then take a section, we get 100, and we divide that, we get 160 acre quarter sections. So this northwest quarter here of section 13 is 160 acres. Then if we divide that 160 acre quarter sections into quarters, they each measure 140 acre quarter. So our star here is within a 40 acre parcel of land, which is still a pretty large parcel of land. And the star here is located in the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter of section 13 of township 2 south, range 2 west. So how do I know if it's township 2 south, range 2 west? I need to start at my baseline and move 1, 2, township 2 south. I moved south from the baseline 2 townships. And here's our principal meridian. I needed to move 1, 2 ranges towards the west, R2 west. Okay. So in your lab book on page 212, you have this map here of the US and of the US Public Land Survey System showing our baselines and principal meridians throughout the US. And if we look here in California, in Southern California, you can see that there is a baseline and a principal meridian named San Bernardino. Sounds familiar. So these are actually 3 principal meridians there are actually 3 principal meridians that are here in California. We have the Humboldt principal meridian in Northern California. We have the Mount Diablo Principal Meridian near San Francisco. We also have the San Bernardino Principal Meridian. And this map comes actually from the US Geological Survey. Now, if you have ever driven on the 15 or the 215 through San Bernardino, you may have noticed a off-ramp and a street called Baseline Avenue. Baseline Avenue is actually a portion of our baseline, our San Bernardino Principal Meridian and our baseline. So it is actually part of that road. So it's in San Bernardino baseline, and it's part of the San Bernardino Principal Meridian. So from that baseline, you can further subdivide the land. Now, here on the West Coast, we do not frequently hear of township and range system. However, there are definitely township and range systems, as we saw in California, and they're more really referred to on the East Coast and in other parts of the country. However, here we have a township and range, a map here from the city of Victorville, and it's the city, the Department of Engineering within the city. And so this is a map that they have produced, and it also has their township and range system overlaid on their map. Okay, so I've highlighted here in red, and the red dashed line across the map. I've highlighted the division between two townships. So everything north of the red line is township 5 north, and we can see right here T5N. Then everything south of the red dashed line is township 4 north, T4N. And if we were to continue off the map further south, we would reach T3N and T2N and so forth. Now, these yellow highlighted lines, they represent the division between ranges. So we can see here, let's look on this one right here. Everything east of this yellow line is within the range for west. Then everything west of this yellow line is in the range R5W. And here is our line, R5W on this side of it, and R6W on this side. Okay, so everything west of this line will be on our map here will be R6W, and in between these two meridians is going to be within R5W, and everything over here between these two yellow lines is R4W. Then anything east of here would be R3W. So if I were to identify the township and range on this map, here, let's say in the southwestern corner of the map, we can look right here, we would be T4N R6W. I'm actually going to take that out. So here in this corner, we would be T4N R6W, because we are in township 4 north and range 6 west. How do I know this? By looking here at township 4 north and my range 6 west. Another example, if I were to move here further east, we would still be in Township 4 North. Now we are in Range 5 West. If we were to move over one more, we are still in Township 4 North, Range 4 West. If we were to move north of our red line, we would be in Township 5 North. How do I know that? Because here is our Township 5 North, and we are in Range 6 West. Oops, 6 West, because we are still, I look here, 6 West, okay? If we move one more over toward the east, we would be in Township 5 North, Range 5 West. And in this one, we would be Township 5 North, Range 4 West. I know this because I am in Township 5 North, north of this township, this baseline, and Range 4 West, I'm west of this meridian. Okay. Okay. All right, so let's do a little practice with this. If for practice, let's identify A, B, C, D, and E. So starting with location A, first we want to find our baseline. So here is our baseline highlighted in red. And I am location A up here in this parcel. So I am going to count 1, 2 township spaces north. So I'm going to start typing that in. We would be Township 2 North. Next, I need to find where my meridian is, my principal meridian, and it's right here highlighted in red. And so our A is located 1, 2. So I would say Range 2, and we went west, west. So we are, A is located in Township 2 North, Range 2 West. If we're going to look at B, B is over here. I'm going to first find my baseline, and I'm going to count how many away are we from our baseline. We are 1, 2 south of our baseline. So I'm going to do Township 2 South. Then how far are we from our meridian? Well, we are just 1 from our principal meridian. So I would do Range 1, and we moved east. So B is located in Township 2 South, Range 1 East. Looking at letter C, we find our baseline. So we are Township 1 south from our baseline, and we are Range 4 west. So here is our principal meridian. We went 1, 2, 3, 4 west. Now let's get a little bit more tricky. Here is letter D. And D, I've divided this section into 4 quarters. So D is located in the southwest quarter. I'm sorry, southeast, excuse me. D is located in the southeast quarter of section 9 of Township 2 South, range to west. That is where D is. Let's take a look at letter E. So letter E is in the southwest quarter of section 6, township to south, range to west. How do I know that? This would be this quarter here above would be the northwest quarter, northeast quarter, southeast quarter, and the letter E is in the southwest quarter. So E is located in the southwest quarter of section 6, township to south, range to west. Again, our star is located in the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter of section 13, township to south, range to west. So on your lab, exercise 31, it is adapted from your lab book. So therefore, there's a few questions that differ from in Canvas from what is in your lab book. But I think these questions actually make it easier for you. So good luck on your lab this week, and I hope you do well. Let me know if you have any questions on this.